All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday. The Seahawks did not play yesterday or the day before or even the day before that. So I know that in some ways that game is in the rear view mirror, but in some ways it's also not because it was so important and such a dramatic victory and so many crazy things happened that I think we're still on it a little bit. Normally we'd be pretty over it, but a game like that you don't get over in a few days. So we do have more to talk about from that game, and we're going to start with Snap Count Monday. We already did Pro Football Focus stuff, so we're not going to revisit that, but we are going to take a look at Snap Count stuff. And there's, I'm not going to say alarming stuff, but there is some stuff here that is not so great. I will go ahead and admit that. 68 plays offensively actually sounds pretty decent. But the problem is we needed overtime to get it, so it's just kind of sort of average, maybe. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. More than anything, Seattle had a lot of possessions in that game, and they didn't take full advantage of how many possessions they had because they went three and out so much. So 68 is okay on the face of it, but in the context of that game, you'd want to do a little bit better. So let's talk about the splits. Running back, you got K9 with 30 snaps and Charbonnet with 38. I don't mind giving Charbonnet more snaps than K9 in some games, but in a game like that where Walker was kind of having a fireball coming out of his butt, I'd probably want Walker in more. We've got two games left now in the season, and Walker is unlikely to even get to 500 snaps. I know you want him for the playoffs, but at the same time, getting the one seed's kind of a big deal here, so you want to dance with the best possible girl. Robbie Oots, 10 snaps, so he continues to be kind of an afterthought in this offense overall. Not really working out the way that we hoped right now. Wide receivers, JSN and Cooper Kupp basically played the whole game. JSN had 3 snaps off, and Kupp had 5 snaps off. So that is not something that's happened a lot this year. It makes sense because that was such an important game. But to be perfectly honest, at this point, and I know that Shaheed does more than just play receiver for this team, but I don't know how you justify giving Shaheed 37 snaps and then Kupp 63 in a game that important. Shaheed can do more. He's more valuable. He's more talented at this point. I'm not just saying this because Kupp had a really, really bad fumble that, I mean, infuriated pretty much all Seahawks fans. And I know that Kupp did make some nice plays later in the game to kind of redeem himself, but Shaheed's the more dynamic player. He's the guy who threatens defenses. I don't think that defenses are intimidated by Cooper Kupp, but they are intimidated by Shaheed, even in a game where he doesn't have any catches. So I was hoping that Shaheed would kind of ramp up with his usage as time went on, and it seems like we are pretty content to just have him play slightly more than half the time for the most part. I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. I do like the idea of trying to get as many miles as you can out of Kupp because he's not likely to be here much longer. He may even be gone this offseason, but I don't know how to feel about that. And Cody White got 6 snaps, so um, now that we've kind of established that Shaheed, while he's still not a full part of the offense, is a pretty significant part of the offense, there just isn't a lot for Cody White to do. So I'm gonna say it again. When Torrey Horton gets back, where are these snaps going to come from? A lot of people think that Torrey Horton is going to make a big difference in this offense, but who is he taking snaps from? Maybe he's taking some from Kupp, but I don't think he's taking any from Shaheed, and there's very little to take from Cody White. So I do wonder what happens if Horton comes back this year at all. Tight end, AJ Barner basically played the whole game. So again, in a game that important, in a game that significant, we did want to kind of go out swinging in these regards, which I like and respect. 64 out of 68. So he's up to about 79%. And remember, that's with one game where he played very little because he was injured and just gutting it out. And it was a blowout anyway. We didn't need him. So he's probably going to get to about 80% by the end of the year, especially because Arroyo's not going to come back. Saubert played 26 snaps, so actually not as many as you might have thought. Nick Collerup played 1. So we've kind of gone a little tight end light here, right? If you put it all together, you're going multiple tight end less than half of the time, which obviously that's mostly because Arroyo's out, but with Horton also out, I kind of expected this team to use Saubert a little bit more, and so far they've found other ways to get it done. Offensive line, very simple. Everybody played 68 snaps. Cross was out. Josh Jones was in. That's really all there is to say. So not much nuance. No jumbo packages because Josh Jones was usually your jumbo guy. And I don't know how they feel about guys like Cable Dew or Richmond being the sixth offensive lineman. So yeah, not much to discuss. Going over to the defense now. Yeah, 92 snaps. And yeah, you needed overtime. There were still like 80 plus plays before you got to OT. So kind of a mess. And it was definitely a feedback loop. You had the offense not staying on the field, and you had the defense not getting off the field. So 92 defensive snaps in a game is a mess. The season high before this week was 76, and we had hit 76 several times. You figure that would be kind of like the rough ceiling, but 92, even with OT, that's rough. And it does highlight some of the issues we had in that game, and it highlights how much of a miracle it was that we still won. Now, the nice thing is, because we've been pretty judicious with usage of guys like Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy, we were able to more or less get away with it. Get away with playing them a lot in this game. 73 snaps for Williams, 71 for Murphy. That's normally a mess, and I still don't like it, but you had to do it. And because neither of these guys have been driven into the ground, they were not a complete mess out there. So Williams, Murphy played a ton. Reed almost 50 snaps, which that's obviously not where you want to be, but I'm going to say it again. What you've done earlier in the year enables you to do something like that when you need to. Like if Leonard Williams was sitting on 1,000 snaps played going into this game, he probably can't play 73 snaps right now. If Jaron Reed had grinded out 45 snaps a game the whole season leading up to that game, he's probably completely worn down by now, but that's not the case. So I'm not saying these guys played great, by the way. I think there were some problems, but their best football was probably played in the fourth quarter, right? Like if you were to pinpoint issues with guys like Big Cat and Murphy, it was probably early in that game. So if anything, they got better as time went by. Mike Morris, 5 snaps. Riley Mills, 6 snaps. Mills showed a couple of things, but I got to be honest. I think that this team right now needs somebody like a Brandon Peely more because he brings some nose tackle credibility to the table that Mills just does not. So while I recognize Mills is better, probably overall as a player, I think Mills is just something that you need a little bit more of right now. Or yeah, Peely. So I'd like to see Peely active for the next game, even if it means shelving Mills for a little bit here. Linebacker, you've got Ernest Jones playing literally the whole game. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, sorry guys. I pulled a muscle in my chest. Every cough feels like I'm getting stabbed or something pretty bad. But yeah, Ernest Jones played the whole game. Did not play a very good game, by the way, in fairness, but grinded it out. And I think some of the things people are saying about him today are a little bit, or not even today, but over the last few days are a little bit overzealous. Still having a really great year. Still very happy to have him. And 92 snaps in a game is not easy. Drake Thomas, 77 snaps. Now, I'm much more inclined to think that Drake Thomas had a rough game, but that's a discussion for later this week. But yeah, pretty much the whole game too. So credit where credit's due. Not easy to play 77 snaps in a game, and he did it. Uchenna Nwosu is first here for the edge rushers. 52 out of 92, so ratio-wise, it's about right. I don't ever really want Nwosu playing 52 snaps in a game, but again, sometimes it has to happen. It happened, and he got through. Again, in part because you have been very balanced with your edge rusher distribution this year. Demarcus Lawrence, 65 snaps. That's kind of a disaster. I don't ever want D-Law playing 65 snaps in a game, but overall on the season, not even 55%. And part of that's because he's missed a game or two with injuries, but it doesn't really matter how you get there. It matters that you got there. And we can afford to do stuff like this. If D-Law had played 80% of the snaps this season, probably got no legs left. But now you can play him this much in a game. And by the way, I'm not saying he played a great game. He didn't. I don't know if anybody on defense did, but I noticed him making a couple nice plays near the end there. I did. So not unhappy. Derek Hall, 42 snaps, so slightly less than half the game. Mafe, it's getting rough out there, man. It's getting rough out there. 92 snaps, you're playing 24. At that point, you are a complete afterthought. Now, I know his PFF grade was really, really bad, and he was probably doing stuff out there that was so egregiously bad that we just needed to get him out of there. But however you want to slice it, like, this is the most important game of the year. This is one of the great knockdown, drag it out fights in the league for 2025. And I got you for 24 snaps. That tells me they're just done with you and they don't think you're good anymore. So it's sad. I was a Mafe fan. I really liked him. I liked the way he was developing, but this year he's kind of hit the wall. I don't think he's been a terrible player, but he's certainly not something that you're motivated to keep around past this season. So disappointing and surprising given the fact that it is a contract year for him. So that's it for the edge rushers. Distribution is pretty fair. Hopefully whatever Mafe was doing that was so egregiously awful, and there were quite a few things in that vein on Thursday, at least get ironed out enough for him to be playable for the next few weeks. Cornerback, Devin Witherspoon, 88 snaps. Reek Woolen, 42, and I know he got hurt. I don't think he got hurt early enough to justify playing less than half the game. And then you got Josh Jobe here, who did not get hurt, 65 snaps. So I understand that getting hurt changes things here, but I really, eh, I really don't understand why we're still doing this. And I don't hate Josh Jobe at all. I think he's actually been pretty good this year, and I think that he has been an asset for this team. I think that he has been more good than bad. But at this point, I don't think there's any reason to have Josh Jobe on the field when you have Reek Woolen there who can get on the field. I think that there were some advantages to having Jobe out there sometimes. Maybe there still are, but I think that's becoming relatively muted when compared to the ability to just have your best cover corner out there. So I don't know. It seems like Woolen is fine. I'd kind of like to give him the saddle and let Jobe just be a part-timer for the rest of the year. Nehemiah Pritchett had 12 snaps after Woolen got hurt, by the way. Didn't do anything egregiously bad, but didn't really notice him too much either way. Safety, Julian Love plays every snap except for 3. Kobe Bryant plays 56 and then gets hurt. Eman Wari plays 75 snaps, would have played basically the whole game if he didn't get injured. Kai Okada came in, took over for Kobe, 32 snaps. Not much to say here. Pretty much what you would expect. We had 2 injuries here, so there's going to be some mixing and matching, but overall seems reasonable to me. Not much to object to, not much to say. So yeah, that'll do it for Snap Count Monday. Let me know what you guys think, if anything. Very interesting stuff this week. All right. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks. There will be other videos later, but yeah, there's your Snap Count data. Let me know down below.